How's it going, guys? This is Levi from BayFoils, and today we got a real talk video where I talk about real things. Yeah, that's a good catchphrase. But basically, today I'm going to just sit here and talk a little bit about something that's on my mind about efoiling and hopefully shed some light onto a topic. And, these topics are topics that are frequently discussed. But it's difficult to get an answer on the internet because you gotta sort through the haze of forums and people who might not know what they're talking about. They could just be blowing smoke out their ass. They don't have a lot of experience. Average Reddit user. But I'm here as an expert, as somebody who's been doing this for many years. And I'm just going to try to give as much information as possible. Hopefully it's not overload, but that's it. I'm not going to really edit this video too much, so if you hear a lot of ums, uhs, whatever me thinking, sorry, but this is just kind of spur of the moment video. So the topic of today is efoiling easy? This is kind of a thick question to ask because there's a lot of things that go into it. Obviously, there's some personal things that go into it, but then there's also some mechanical things like about the efoil itself that can make it easy or not. So this is a really difficult question to answer. Before I give my answer, though, please subscribe to our channel. You can support us at our channel by subscribing and sharing these videos with your friends. 80% of our viewers who watch our informative videos like this are not subscribed to our channel. So don't be that guy. Subscribe today. And so to answer the question, yes, efoiling is easy. I've done a lot of sports in my life, surfing, skateboarding, mountain biking, fencing, archery. I do a lot of different weird nerd stuff. And out of all of them, this was by far the easiest to pick up and go. But that's because I have a very strong surf background and we were using fliteboards. So that's kind of the caveats of what makes it easy. I've tried the other brands and they're not as intuitive as fliteboards are. And also, in general, fliteboarding really distills efoiling, like foil boarding, down to just one thing. If you think about like foiling in other disciplines like wing foiling or surf foiling, those are really hard because one, we need that existing experience as a wing surfer or as a surfer to then add on the crazy variable that is a foil. So when you're looking at efoiling, we really don't need any experience of wingboarding, of surfing, of kiting. We can just basically hop on it and go with a proper instruction, obviously. We'll talk about that more in a second, but basically efoiling is foil boarding distilled down to just that one element. But there's still a lot to worry about when we are out there on the water foiling. There's weight position, throttle control. There's a lot that we're worrying about. And so going with a setup that really gives you the best variable control, so to speak, is really what makes it easier than not. So I've tried the other brands. I've tried Lift. I've tried Waydoo. I've tried some other brands I'm not going to name. And flight boards are really the least variable in terms of making it like simple to use. And that's not saying you subtract any performance. The flight boards are also the highest performing efoils on the market, benchmark, speed, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm not going to go into it. That's not really this video. But it's really intuitive for people to just get up, and the body mechanics that we associate with moving the board is in line with what you do to make the board move. You want it to raise up out of the water, you just lean back. You want to set it down, you just lean forward. And in general, you can do that as much as you want. There's much more forgiveness touching down on a fliteboard than there is on the other brands. And that's really important because when you're a beginner and you're just learning, you don't know where the balance point is. So you're constantly going up a little bit and then touching down. With the other brands I've tried, touching down is a death sentence. You just get launched into the water. But on a fliteboard, the design of the board and the design of the foil makes it really easy to touch down and then take back off. That makes the learning process so much easier and makes it more intuitive. You're less scared about touching down, and so you can practice foiling up out of the water for longer periods of time. Then the other thing is really your experience level, because obviously it's all relative. You know, myself as somebody who has a lot of surfboard, skateboard experience, obviously, yes, I picked this up pretty quickly. It took me about a week and I was carving with little issues. But that was also, I got no lessons. I taught myself how to do that. And so for people who have very little experience, you're not going to be able to teach yourself quickly. There's some stuff that's not like the other sports that figuring it out through trial and error is going to be really lame. So, you know, obviously taking a lesson if you want to really learn how to do this is really important. I've had people who have their own eFoil come and take a lesson and foiled for the first time. Like they had been going out with their own board on their own for like a month, were never able to keep it foiled. And after one lesson of me coaching them through how to stand up properly and how to proper throttle management, they were able to get up and fly, no problem. And they were like, "Oh my God, that was the first time I foiled." And I was like, "How long have you had your board?" 2 months. And I was like, whoa. So, you know, your experience and your methodology to learning and getting out on the water really plays a big impact to that perceived easiness of efoiling. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much about stuff, but I kind of answered that question, because it can be super easy if you if you make it easy. Taking a lesson, getting the right setup for what you're trying to do. Like there's making sure you have the right wings, going out in proper conditions, flat water versus ocean. If you're a beginner to board sports period, probably don't try to teach yourself at a spot where there's surfers and waves. So that's it for the video. I'm not going to talk any more about it, but if you have questions, you can send us an email. You can call us for, our line is always open if you have more questions, but we'll see you in the next video.